Hey guys, I had the idea to do this video a while ago, but I forgot because life got hectic. And I was perusing through some of the comments on one of my videos yesterday, and someone mentioned this video, and I was like, oh, I was supposed to do that anyway. So I'm going to do that video now. So, as the title states, this is my prediction for the first 10 games. And for those of you who aren't aware, the season starts for us on October 20th. Um, so let me start off by listing the teams they're going to play. Not necessarily going to list them in order, except for the last three and the first three, because I remember those specifically. Well, the first four and last three. But they have Detroit, Pels, Detroit, Knicks, and then I know the last three are Philly twice and Brooklyn. And they also play Toronto. Actually, I think they have Toronto fourth and the Knicks fifth. Either way, they have Toronto, the Jazz, and the Celtics wedged in there as well. Those are the other teams. So right off the bat, they have a gauntlet. You get kind of, I guess, a warm up with the Pistons twice, even though they're kind of split in between, the Pelicans game in the middle. Um, but none of those other ones are going to be easy. And yeah, but I'm still going to give you my opinion. Um, I'm going to give you my optimistic opinion. This is not going to be me being, what's the term I guess I should be saying, realistic, even though it's kind of realistic. But there's a lot of factors that go into this. None of the teams will have data on this set of Bulls, so that'll increase down the line. But it's not, basically during this 10 games, it's nothing that anybody can use for the most part tangibly to kind of, I guess, get a feel on them. By the time we hit Brooklyn, that might be different, but it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to have to continue to deal with. Uh, Look, let me just go ahead and start off by saying we're beating the Pistons both times. Nothing to do with the Pistons in general. They just don't have the talent. Um, and they're going to be putting the ball in the hands of Cade Cunningham. We still got to see what he's going to do, but NBA game is different. He talent difference, man. Bulls should win that game. Pelicans, that's the first game where they actually have a player that deals with one of the weaknesses on this team. Um, and by the way, I'm not going to talk about the Pistons again after this. Just assume they win both games 2-0. Or one and then this and then the next one's one. Pelicans, I'm going to say we win this game. However, would it surprise me if we lost this game? Absolutely not. Look, the one of the advantages they have is they have a power forward in Zion. You've been a Pelicans fan, you follow me. We've talked about Zion on my channel because he's part of the Pelicans and so is Lonzo. Look, if Pat Will gets into foul trouble early, which guarding Zion is going to be a tall task for him and Vooch, but if he gets into foul trouble early, we're screwed. Okay, which is why we need a power forward. But not just it's that front court in general is solid. Bi, Zion, and Valanciunas will not be a bad group. Um, I don't trust their backcourt, for that matter, or their bench. This is going to be testy online because the Pelicans fans that don't like Zoe in the Zoe stands who don't like a lot of the Pelicans fans of the Blah Boys are going to clash. And so whoever wins or loses this game is going to be a problem online. I, for one, plan to talk a ton of shit if the Bulls win. And I predicted them to win so I can start my shit talk early. So it's going to be a hard one, but Bulls should win this. We got the better team. Okay? Um, so that's 2-0. Then I mentioned the Pistons already, 3-0 again. Next is, and I'm sorry about the lawnmower stuff outside. I have no control over that. My apartment complex decided Labor Day was the best day to start mowing lawns or yards and things, so we got to deal with that. I think the Raptors was actually the next game, then the Knicks. Look, I don't know who the Raptors took for their pick. I don't remember any of the picks outside of Cade Cunningham. I just know Houston got one, Orlando got one, Toronto got one, and Detroit got Cade. That's it. Um, they got OG. They got Fred VanVleet. I don't know anybody else on the roster right now. And I can't remember Pascal Siakam. Um, his name was running a blank. But they got length to defend us. That's going to be a tough one. But I think ultimately we're more talented. And because of that, we should win this game. Um, 4-0. Knicks. That's going to be the first loss. That's going to be the first loss. And they're going to play us at our house, if I'm not mistaken. That's the first loss. We're going to lose to the Knicks. They have continuity. Their core guys are back. They got a little bit better in the backcourt. They play a defensive style of ball. They're going to look to shrink possessions. We're going to look to up the possessions. Could we still win that game? Absolutely. But I'm just going off of what I think. Continuity, I'm going to give a lot of credit for continuity and chemistry. I'm giving them the win at home over the Bulls. So we're 4-1. Next is, I think they play the Jazz. And look, even if I get the order wrong, don't worry about it. Just the record probably is what matters most. The Jazz is one of those ones where I think we're pretty evenly matched. But here's where I like us, okay? The backcourt duel is something I'm going to be looking forward to. Conley and Mitchell, both undersized. Zach and Zoe, tall guards, tall ball. Y'all know how I feel. I think we got the advantage there. Then we get into the Bogdanovich and Ingles versus Pat Will and DeRozan. That's going to be interesting. I could see them actually winning that matchup. As far as like the forwards, the wings, I could see them actually having the advantage there. But I will say this, because they're typically a smaller team, that plays into our advantage. So we don't need to go like, we don't have that weakness of like size and depth. That doesn't exist with this team. By the way, if I talk about the Knicks, that's one of the issues. Julius Randle's a power forward. You're asking Pat Will to have to guard him all game. Then you got R.J. Barrett that you got to guard all game with DeRozan. Fournier ain't too bad. Kemba, he should be healthy, so he should be normal Kemba. So we're going to have to pay attention to him. I just think Julius Randle is going to be the difference maker. We'll see. But I think that and the style of play, I think, is the difference maker there. But, back to the Jazz. I think we beat their backcourt. I think we either go even or lose to their front court, with the exception we're not into the centers yet. The centers are the X factor, because here's the problem. If we're in a half-court situation, I'm telling Vooch, play on the perimeter. Yes, we're going to lose rebounds to Gobert, but here's the problem. If we're playing 5 out and we give DeRozan the ball, the reason I want DeRozan with the ball is because I need to force them to have to play his game. And I need all the shooters available so that they have to give attention to them. I'm going to put DeRozan at the top of the key. He's probably being guarded by Bogdanovich. He's going to play he's going to play in the paint. And DeRozan's going to obviously be on the perimeter outside the 3-point arc. Gobert's not going to want to come out to guard Vooch. If he does, you're telling me I got DeRozan one-on-one with Bogdanovich. I'm going to take that matchup every time. If he's going to fall back and try to defend, I just give the ball to Vooch. And so that's the game, manipulating. And I think from what I remember, Rudy Gobert has a problem with fives that can come out and shoot, because it forces him to have to play outside of the paint, which takes away his defensive presence. The X factor for the game is Vooch. And as long as everybody else plays solidly well, we should come away with the win for this. So that's what? 5-1? Celtics. Celtics don't have Jaylen Brown. He shouldn't be available to start the season. They're underpowered. Little bit of turnover. Different coach. Different system. Giving that one to the Bulls just off of the strength of they have more talent. So that's what 6-1. Here's where we start getting tricky. They got 2 games against Philly, back to back. And by back to back, there's a 3-game difference. So one happens on like the 6th and the other is on the 9th. But they played them consecutively. The problem is we don't know the status of Ben Simmons and what that team is going to look like. So, for the purpose of this video, I am going to say that this is the same exact team from last year, even though they made some changes, slight changes. Same exact team from last year. No chemistry issues. Basically, I'm taking last year's exact team for the most part and saying we're going to put them here. With that being said, they're splitting with Philly. They're going to take one of the games. I'm not sure which one, but they're going to lose one of the other ones. Okay? That makes us 9-2. Next game is Brooklyn. Brooklyn, it depends on their health too, but James Harden should be back healthy. Matter of fact, I seen a picture of him not too long ago. He looked like he lost a lot of weight, so he should be good to go. Kyrie should be available. KD, they're souped up. Look, that's just one of the teams we're not going to beat outright. Like, we'll beat them probably in a game or two in the regular season. But what I'm saying is, talent for talent wise, they're better than us. And we just have to admit that. And Blake Griffin is going to drop 40 on our head because all we got is Pat Will and nobody else to guard that nigga. But anyway, sarcasm. We're going to lose that game. That makes us overall 7-3. Okay, I think the next game after that is the Mavs, but that's game 11. I'm not going to get into that for right now. Look, 7-3 pace, which is 10 games. So let's just multiply by 8, which would be 80. That's 56-24. And then you still got 2 games left over. 56 games is usually number 1 seed, maybe number 2, depending on the year. I had them at 60. 4 games off. Pretty fair. Yeah, it's a pretty good record. Now, all of this could change and stuff, and that kind of depends on, I don't know what the fuck that was on my beard. But all of that depends on the Philly situation. If Philly makes a trade and they don't get anybody back of value that I think will have an impact, then we're just fucking 8-2. And 60 game win pace. You know what I'm saying? And the next, by now we're in November, and some of the games that'll be coming up is Lakers, Clippers, Warriors. We're going to have a lot, like that's the gauntlet coming up, along with the Mavs and stuff like I mentioned. Yeah, so that's what I think on an optimistic level. 7-3, maybe 8-2. But that's just me being optimistic. I could see us completely fumbling as soon as we come out the gate. Just the chemistry issues, but I think they'll be fine. I think the style of play is going to fit everybody, so they're just going to come in clicking. I don't think we're going to have that issue. I would be more surprised if we had that issue. If there is a chemistry problem, I think it's going to be timing in the pick and roll. Now, DeRozan has played with Vooch in college, but I don't know much about whether they ran pick and roll. I don't watch college. So we'll have to see what happens. Timing in the pick and roll is going to matter. Communication on defense is going to matter. If we're going to lose games, it's going to be because of that early. I don't necessarily think offensive execution is going to be the big one, especially if they're going to be trying to get out and run. The thing that's going to bother me, I think, in the beginning is if you get the rebound, you got to find Lonzo. And playing with Lonzo is a different experience because you got to get used to him. And so you get the rebound, you might naturally have a tendency to go do one thing. You got to give him the ball so y'all can go. And so he needs to be, give me the ball, give me the ball. Okay, that takes a second or so, and everybody else is running, and now he's looking. Or, okay, we got to get boxed out and let Zoe get the rebound. We got to figure out how that shit works. And so because of it, I could see some issues there, and it's going to take them getting in the stride. But again, you got Detroit as two of your games to start off. You should pipe them down. Pelicans got continuity for the most part, but they got a different coach, different system. And Zion and B.I. don't defend. So I'm not worried about Devontae Graham. I'm not worried about Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Nobody on that team last year could guard Zach LaVine. You brought in Devontae Graham. Zoe is your best perimeter defender. Nobody on that team is motherfucking stopping Zach LaVine. Whatever the fuck Zion is going to give you, Zach is going to give you. Cancel. Nobody on that team could guard DeMar DeRozan last year. Even with Lonzo. He got worse in backcourt D. Nobody on that team this year could guard DeMar DeRozan. Whatever Brandon Ingram gives you is going to get canceled out by DeMar DeRozan. Vooch. Valanciunas. Vooch is better. I'm taking Vooch. Front court should win. Backcourt, well, let me not say that. Zion should beat Pat Will. But Zach LaVine is dusting Devontae Graham or Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So now we're left with Lonzo versus whoever. If it's a one-on-one and he's got Devontae Graham, look, pick and roll, pull up, mid-range jump shot. Okay, game over. They should win that game without question. Let's see. Outside of that, I think I covered most of the shit. I'm not worried about the Celtics. They're not healthy. They don't have Jaylen Brown. With Jaylen Brown, my opinion of that game changes. Maybe not the result. I'd have to think about it. But my opinion definitely changes on that game. I'm not interested in that game without healthy Jaylen Brown. Yes, they have Dennis Schroeder, but Zoe can lock him up. Caruso can lock him up. I have no concerns about him. Marcus Smart might be a problem on D. We'll have to see. Outside of that, I'm not worried. That should be a win. Like I said, the Knicks is a problem. I'm going to give them their respect. They're going to get the win. I could see us beating them, but I'm going to respect them for having continuity, and they just only made upgrades, and they still got their core guys from last year, their future, which is basically RJ and Julius Randle. Plus, they also got their center back, Mitchell Robinson. He wasn't available last year. He got hurt early on. So they'll be better in the front court overall. Julius might put up 32 and 12 and like 7 that game. I'm going to be real. Hey, power forwards, man. I have an issue with power forwards this year. And so that's not to say, Pat Will going to just get obliterated. But he's physical, and that's asking a lot for him to have to guard all that. Because if y'all haven't seen Jew is Hulk. He is big. And Pat Will ain't quite there yet. So we'll have to see. But I'm going to give them their respect. And so they got the win. Jazz, I could see us losing that game because they could get hot from 3. But no. It's going to come down to can they figure out how to deal with Vooch. And I don't think they have anybody to guard Vooch. Look, if anything, this is one of those games where Vooch gives you like 42, 15, and 7. Okay. Rudy Gobert's not one to guard him. If you're somebody that thinks Rudy is going to come out there and guard this man, you need to come talk to me. We need to have a debate about this because I don't see it. The only way he coming out there guarding is Vooch is killing. And now they just got to put somebody there. And they might opt to just say, fuck it, we'll put fucking Joe Ingles or somebody or Bogdanovich there and just say, fuck it. At least put somebody there. But I mean, hey, If you do that, then that means one-on-one DeRozan with Rudy Gobert. I like Rudy a little bit more than that because of where DeRozan wants to play. But if he's got to guard him, I'm going to give the ball to Vooch, and he's just going to dribble the fuck out of it on Ingles or Bogdanovich and just say, sue me. Maybe you get some help defense off of Pat Will's guy, but I'm sorry. I don't see how we lose that game unless they get hot. And they could get hot because they got hot last year. Outside of that, we don't know the Phoenix thing, so I'm just going to be fair and just say they split. I think that's fair. If you want to say they lose both games, I got no problem. If you want to say they win both games, I got no problem. But outside of that, Brooklyn, we're losing the first game. We're losing the first game. We will get them later in the year. But and when I looked at that schedule, I was like, yeah, we'll lose the first game. No issue with that. Later in the year, though, we getting them. We gonna get them, and it's gonna be a tight game. It might be considered a classic because that one's it's gonna have some hooping in it. I promise you that one. But that's all I got. And I know I didn't talk about the Brooklyn matchup. You know what? Let me be fair and talk about the Brooklyn matchup. So I guess that ain't all I got. Look. We do not have an answer for Kevin Durant. We do not have an answer for Blake Griffin or LaMarcus Aldridge, whoever they decide they want to put there. You're asking Zach to score with or cancel out one of their backcourt members in scoring. And you're asking Lonzo to have to limit one of those backcourt guys in scoring. Now, a lot of people might say, well, he can, and that's fine if he can, but will he do that? On top of having to guard KD, and Patty Mills off the bench, and that bench is better than us. Okay, even if you want to play mental gymnastics and say, they cancel out. Their bench is undoubtedly better than ours. Okay? So, even if we could keep it even in the starting lineup, and it would take a lot, their bench is just going to come in and kill us. Any questions? Okay? I think by the time we get into rhythm and we play them, I think it's going to be hard for them to play against our rhythm. So, yeah. We'll see what happens. Why would they win later in the season? When Lonzo is revving and Zach LaVine is revving. See, basically, let me explain this. This is a chemistry team to me. Well, what makes you think they're going to have chemistry to begin with? It's style of play. I think the chemistry and the style of play is going to play, it's going to work hand in hand. And you guys may talk about some of the guys off of the bench, Troy Brown, all these other guys and stuff. I get it. Save them for another conversation. I think, here's my mindset with this team, and I want to reiterate this with you guys going forward. The reason I have them pinned for 60 wins is not because they're better than the other teams that they're going to beat. I believe style of play, along with the weapons, is going to make it a challenge to deal with them on a night-to-night basis. You could end up playing the Clippers one night, who's a defensive team, and then have to play this team. The Clippers had the lowest pace, most efficient shots from three in the league last year. You go from playing a team like that that's having less than 100 possessions a game, or the Knicks, to then having to go play a team that's going to have like 110 or more possessions. That's a lot. That is not something you're prepared to. Most teams aren't going to play at 110 possession pace. It's probably like more like 104, 105. So that's 6 extra possessions you have to eke out in a game. It may not sound like a lot, but it is. Keep in mind, this is average. So some games, there might be games where they have like 120 possessions. Insane. Some games they might have like 97. Even more insane for this day and age and era. So it's going to balance itself out. But who's to say Brooklyn might not catch them on a night of a back-to-back and they're fresh, healthy, and humming, and they get one of those games where they get like 125 possessions. And they got a lot of old guys. So you expect Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, all these guys to try to chase them back and forth all game. They will wear down. So it's one of those things where I say, you're not just having to play against their players, you're having to play against the style of ball because if you're not conditioned, you are going to get worn down. That's why I also have them splitting with the Lakers later in this season. They're going to win a game and they're going to lose a game. They have Russ and they got LeBron and AD is relatively young. I get it. But most of the other guys, they're not trying to run. They're trying to play a slower game and they're trying to block the insides. Guess what? You still got to run. And I've seen LeBron just straight up say, I ain't chasing them niggas. I've seen it. He's like, hey man, I ain't chasing them. And Dwight Howard, for all that talk, he ain't finna chase after motherfuckers either. I'm just being real. So there's some games where I think they're gonna get the teams are just gonna catch the Chicago Bulls and they're just gonna. By the way, there's some games that the Bulls are gonna start off losing, and because they're going to get hot, or that pace is gonna pick up, and they're gonna start wearing teams down. See, you could easily end up in a game where the Bulls are down at halftime 42-60. And you're in the halftime, cool. They're going to stay the flow. By the end of the third quarter, the score is going to be like 82-80. And the game is going to flip in the fourth quarter because all of a sudden they're going to be running out of time and timeouts, and it's going to be like, well, damn, it looks like, the opposing team is tired. They don't have any legs. They can't make shots. Meanwhile, everything the Bulls get seems like they running, they get to their spots, and shit is going up and it's going in. That's going to happen too. And because of it, again, style of play and weapons, I think this is why they're going to get 60 wins. That's my projection. I know everybody else has them like 47, 45, whatever. I don't give a fuck. That may be fine too. If they get it, guess what? They still win and they still in the playoffs. But for me, 60 wins, teams ain't going to be ready for it. And teams are already undervaluing this team not teams, but the media is already saying that this team is like it's not going to be that good. Bullshit. But anyway, that's all I got. I'm pretty sure y'all are going to have some nasty takes. And nasty, I mean good takes. But I think some of y'all are going to have some questions. Some of you might agree. You might want me to explore or explain. If you want, let me know. Make a comment. Who knows? I got Labor Day off. I might make another video and I might talk about it. We'll see. But let me know how y'all feel. If you agree, if you don't agree. Y'all have a good day, and I hope you are enjoying your Labor Day. Have a good one. Peace.